You've probably heard of Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power. It's one of those books that's famous for being, well, controversial. People call it amoral, cunning, ruthless, but also essential. So let's dive right in and explore what this book actually says about the unspoken rules of the game. Right off the bat, we get this quote, which is a spin on Machiavelli, and it really sets the tone. The argument here is that the world isn't always a nice place, and the book's message is pretty blunt. Ignoring this fact isn't just naive, it can be downright dangerous. This brings us to a really core question. See, according to this philosophy, power isn't something you can just decide not to participate in. It's woven into every single human interaction. So the only choice you really have is whether you want to be a pawn in the game or a player. Okay, so let's unpack that a little more. The book's whole premise is that whether you're at the office, out with friends, or even with your own family, you're part of this unspoken game. It's a game of influence and social dynamics. And if you ask Greene, just understanding the rules is the very first step to getting good at it. And this is where appearances become absolutely crucial. The book claims that the people who make the biggest show of being innocent or morally superior are often the most skilled players of all. They're playing the game by pretending they're above it. It's all about perception. So if power really is a game of perception, then rule number one has to be this. You have to become the master of your own public image. You can't just leave it up to chance how people see you. You have to actively control it. The story of Mata Hari is a perfect example of this. She never really revealed her true background, always changing her story. And what happened? She became this object of intense fascination. People were just drawn to her because they couldn't quite figure her out. The lesson here? A little mystery makes you seem way more profound and powerful than you might actually be. And that ties right into law number 4, always say less than necessary. Think about it. When you stay quiet, you make other people nervous. They rush to fill that silence with their own ideas, and they'll often imagine you're planning something brilliant. All the while, you're avoiding the risk of saying something, well, foolish. Now, when you do need to make your point, the book is really clear: show, don't tell. Getting into an argument with someone, that just makes them dig in their heels and resent you, even if you technically win. But if you can demonstrate your point, that's way more persuasive and leaves a lot less room for hurt feelings. You see this perfectly with the story of Michelangelo. An official insisted the nose on his statue of David was too big. Did Michelangelo argue? Nope. He just climbed up the ladder, pretended to chip away at it while actually dropping some marble dust he had hidden in his hand. The official was happy, his ego was satisfied, and Michelangelo didn't have to ruin his art. That's winning through action. Okay, so mastering your own image is one thing, but that's only half the battle. The next part of the game, and maybe the most dangerous, is understanding the people around you, especially your friends and your enemies. And this is where the book's advice starts to feel really counterintuitive. It warns you that hiring your friends is risky because personal feelings get tangled up in everything, and envy can start to grow in the shadows, leading to betrayal. But an enemy? Well, at least an enemy is a known threat. Their opposition can actually make you sharper and rally people to your side. Yeah, the logic here is pretty ruthless, but it's consistent with the book's worldview. Greene says that if something goes wrong, sacrificing a friend can be painted as this tragic, unavoidable thing, not some cold, calculated move. It really hammers home a core warning of the book. In the game of power, even your closest allies can pose a unique kind of danger. So, what do you do with rivals? The book lays out a pretty cold-blooded 3-step plan. Step 1, you spy. You get close so you can learn their secrets. Step 2, you pick your battles. Don't start a fight with someone you can't beat. And finally, step 3, when you do make your move, you crush them. Totally. The book warns that if you only win by half, you just create an enemy who's going to come back for revenge. All right, the final strategic pillar we're going to look at today might be the hardest one to get right: timing. The book argues that time isn't just something that passes by. It's a weapon. It's a tool you can learn to use. This is Law 33, and it's so fundamental. Never, ever seem like you're in a hurry. When you rush, you seem reactive, like you're not in control and you make mistakes. But patience. Patience signals confidence. It tells everyone that you're in control of your emotions, and because of that, you're in control of the situation. You let everyone else rush into their own mistakes, while you just wait for that perfect moment to act. The book kind of breaks time down into 3 different types you need to master.
First, there's long time. That's about always keeping your eye on the big, ultimate goal. Then you have force time. That's when you mess with your opponent's timing, push them to make hasty decisions. And finally, there's end time, which is the critical skill of knowing when to stop before your big win just creates a brand new set of problems.
So, after going through all these pretty ruthless and strategic laws, what are we supposed to take away from all this? Well, the book doesn't really frame it as a rule book you should just blindly follow. It's more about becoming a lifelong student of human nature itself.
Ultimately, the book presents power as a kind of performance. It's not about being fake, exactly. It's more about being a skilled actor on the world's stage, knowing which mask to wear and which lines to say for any given situation.
And that brings us to the book's final little paradox. The whole point of studying power isn't just to be manipulative. The real mastery, and what the book calls amusement, comes from actually taking it seriously, from becoming this detached observer of the complicated, often hidden currents of human behavior.
And that leaves us with one last question to think about. Whether you find these laws fascinating or totally horrifying, the book forces you to ask yourself, in a world where these power dynamics are always happening around you, what's the bigger risk? Learning the rules of the game or just pretending it doesn't exist?